Hi, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here today at Entertain AI. And I'm here together with Elke, who I would like to join me indeed here at the stage. Elke,
Hello, everyone.
perhaps, yeah. My name is Gerrit Jan van Veen. I'm from World Startup and actually based here in The Hague, close to Amsterdam. And Elke is in a completely different time zone. Where are you right now?
I'm closer to Montreal in Costa Rica. Yeah, so on this part of the ocean. Nice to
All
say
right.
hi to everyone.
Yeah. And we're going to present something new, which is not yet a showcase of AI. It is not yet a showcase of entertainment, but we want it to be in the very near future. Elke and I have been working on Mothership, which is a coalition of Space4Good, World Startup, AI Lab, and a couple of other organizations in the Netherlands. And we've been working on hackathons and post hackathons and all kinds of work. And we've been doing that for a couple of years, and we are up for a new challenge. And due to some inspiration that we have got in the past months, in the past years, and following all kinds of new stuff, we think it's time that we, with this coalition, focus on immersive storytelling with environmental data. Now, before we go into that and why we are here right now today presenting to you, I would like to tell a little bit more about World Startup, the company that I work at. Elke is going to present a bit about Space4Good, which is a really exciting company from all across the world actually, but based in located also in The Hague, very close to we have an office very close to our office. Then we're going to give a little bit of more background of a kind of sometimes explorative and crazy projects that we do. And after that, we're going to talk a little bit more about the immersive storytelling with environmental data, which is something that we need you to engage with. So that's why we're here today. And we're going to, and the final slide are emails, our email addresses. And that's basically the whole setup, the whole point that you're going to email us because you want to be involved in this project that we're showing you today. I'm going to click. I know that it's working, but it's always, yeah, that's me. This is World Startup. We catalyze positive growth. We are a startup support and open innovation organization with a bunch of labels. So Outside Inc., Miles, Frank and the Bags, Dutch Mental Community, all part of our group. And what we do is we strongly believe in the power of collaboration and the beauty of equality. So we're always looking to we're working on new spaces to explore collaboration with entrepreneurship and to basically train people, optimize systems to perform, to let entrepreneurs perform at their best and help as many impact-driven startups and impact-driven entrepreneurs as we can. We spot, accelerate, and celebrate innovation all over the world. And this is one of our examples, actually a startup that I'm very proud of. It's Peter to the right, and he's the founder of Floating Homes, which is a climate change startup in the Philippines. And he is creating a floating home for local communities right now in the Manila area, but hopefully soon all across Southeast of Asia. We have a bunch of services. I'm not going to name them all, but we work for WWF, for FMO, for universities, for corporates, and also for governments. And on a daily basis, supporting as many startups as we can, as many entrepreneurs as we can. And I hope that with this project that we're going to show in a bit, we can also find some entrepreneurs and help them with their growth. Elke, perhaps you can tell a little bit more about Space4Good.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. So I am Elke. I am a GIS specialist and open innovation manager by Space4Good. And Space4Good is an innovative social enterprise that utilizes Earth observation technology for social and environmental impact. And what we do is we, via a combination of remote sensing, geoinformation, and artificial intelligence, we map and analyze complex systems. And in this manner, we support leading organizations on topics such as environmental crime detection, tropical agroforestry, regenerative agriculture. Again, some of the services we provide, just a few: modeling and prediction, monitoring, reporting, and verification solutions, products and bespoke solutions for these impact leaders worldwide to help them make informed decisions and unlock data-driven transparency. Here's a geo snapshot of some of the projects. You'll notice that a lot of them are accommodated along the tropical belt. And this is because indeed lots of our projects deal with the tropical agroforestry, regenerative agriculture. I'm gonna describe briefly a few of them, and I especially chose the ones that utilize machine learning or AI. So this is an illegal logging and detection and prediction platform. We do this for a client in Indonesia. We use radar and optical satellite data combined with machine learning algorithms to provide teams on the ground with real-time alerts and prediction services so they can go quickly to the event to try to mitigate it. In a similar note, we also detect fires, and we provide risk analysis, again, based on the similar types of data. And again, providing these alerts and reports to just mobilize the people to mitigate the risk of such fires. This last project that I'll show is more connected to the carbon markets. So these are biomass assessments that can actually that is connected to the carbon sequestration that an agroforestry farm can have, and this is valid for the carbon sequestration reports, for carbon crediting schemes, for impact leaders around the world. And just a quick view of our team. So we are 20 Space4Good team members across 14 nationalities. And in this next slide, you can take a look at our galactic partner network. We're quite proud of accumulating across the years. And one of these projects, if you see, is with World Startup in the center. And we'll tell a little bit more on this in the next slides.
Yeah, thank you, Elke. We are very much used to interaction, so we have to get used to this modus, actually. But let's continue. But before we tell a little bit more about Mothership and the immersive storytelling with environmental data, I would like to show you a completely different project. And the reason why I'm showing you this is that this gives an idea of what we want to work on in the upcoming months with a growing community. This is Esterplant, and we started Esterplant together with ESA and a bunch of organizations a couple of years ago, with the idea to create a platform for citizen science, for public participation in scientific research. ESA reached out to us and asked us, together with Melissa, which is one of their closely linked organizations, asked us whether we could help with providing a platform for citizens to contribute to the research that Melissa was doing on plant growth. And now we started with the goal actually to create 1,000 Esterplant kits and to start observing plant growth in different environments with a large community of citizen scientists. And we started with that challenge. We started basically with an IKEA kit, hacked it, then organized hackathons. we invited children to work with this on us, because in the end they were the ones that had to become scientists. We built a space farm collective that was a little bit too far out, so people didn't understand what we were doing. So we learned a lot from that, but then we made it a little bit, we made it more simple. We invited designers to work with us on this. And from IKEA set, from IKEA hack, we kind of came to a first prototype of a kit. Together with that community, we kept on exploring, we kept on testing with schools, universities, and we got to the point where we started to ship it, and people actually started making unboxing videos on YouTube, where they were sometimes disappointed, but often also very proud and very happy to receive their Astroplant growth kit. Female, young girls actually from high school started experimenting with it, and even got awards for experimenting with the kit. And now this is we of course started campaigns to even sell even more kits. We redesigned everything so that we could make it as small and as affordable as possible to actually share it with the world. And step by step, we created a community, an active community of people across the world, working with this kit, up to the point where we now received a grant from ESA to scale this first beta version, whatever you call it, version 1.0, to scale this now to hundreds of schools specifically in Europe, but it's not limited to Europe, can be also in other regions. And the reason why I'm showing you this right now is that this is a similar strategy, this is a similar thing that we would like to do with immersive storytelling. And so I would like to quickly go to that part of the presentation, where it's basically that we want to claim that we are a community of nature lovers and technology and data enthusiasts, pushing the limits of storytelling with data to improve the relationship of humans with nature. So as you've just learned from Elke, the Space4Good team and a couple of other organizations also in our community, they are very much into using technology for NGOs, for governments, for corporates, to manage, maintain, and to restore nature as good as possible, in the best possible way. We think that climate change is actually the biggest story of our lifetime. And we think that that story should be told in the most compelling, the most high quality and engaging way. So this is what we want to explore with people. How can we do that? And let me skip this one, sorry. Our challenge that we want to share with you is whether we can create a first prototype of an installation for immersive experiences, which can be deployed at festivals and conferences around the world. Now, I know that I'm showing you a very boring dome right now, and I admit I just grabbed it somewhere on the internet and put it here in my slides. So I'm not sure whether it should be a dome. Perhaps it's a cube, perhaps it's a mythical thing that we have to create. But the very simple idea is that we can create a blank canvas, something that we build with technology in it, with it, and that we can use as a blank canvas for people like you, but also creatives across the world, to start telling these immersive stories and creating these immersive experiences based on environmental data. The first step is then to so that teams can apply the open installation on their own terms, that stories can be added, and then we build a catalog of immersive stories, and then we also start fostering requests for additional types of installations, and that it is a dome and a cube and whatever. So, and we're curious and we are excited to explore this with a community. And basically, that's our question for today. We'll get back to that in a minute. Perhaps, Elke, you can tell a little bit more about how we tested that ID and what kind of examples we have, and now what are also a couple of use cases that we also already think of.
Yeah. So yeah, bear in mind, at least in the case of Space4Good, we're coming more from this, purely data, not art or stories. And so the clients that we currently interact with are mostly being delivered reports or the standard PowerPoint presentations. And within this way of doing business, we have come across questions by them, such as, we're inundated in data, and how can we bring this data alive? It's as if the message is not translating or permeating forward. Or can we put this together in a presentation that is a bit more dynamic and sort of techie, kind of like a dashboard? This was another request. And in the case of Gerrit Jan, he also inquired with the Dutch embassy in Germany. Maybe Gerrit Jan, I don't know if you wanna tell this use case
Yeah,
or
the
or
very
this.
simple. Yeah, sure. Yeah, the very simple example is that people organize a lot of events and they want to get that message across how valuable it is to collect data and to create valuable applications, but they have a hard time because it's no the presentation is almost is as if it's just locked in a laptop. And when you have big groups together, they need new methods, they need new kinds of interactions to get that message across. So the Dutch embassy in Germany is actually very interested to work with no, something completely else than a PowerPoint that we are actually using right now. Sorry for that. Or a laptop presentation.
Yeah, so the concept of innovation diplomacy is what came across. So yeah, us collecting these informally, these types of needs, we just see where, at least with the clients and the people that we're interacting with, they want to see something more. So for inspiration, maybe you, the audience at EAI, are more familiar with such types of examples, but we are here to show you two that inspired us. So it's Brill Brill by Jacob Kunst and One Heart, One Tree. So I'll show the first one. This is an installation that is mixing video, photogrammetry, song, in this impressive installation in Berlin, where actually the swamp and the wetlands are the protagonists. So it's not only a showcase of what has happened before and how these are somewhat lost, but what is yet to come. The second example, it's an older example in 2015, 16, and it's the project One Heart, One Tree, where each the people are connected to, the are measured, the heartbeat, the pulse, and this will create a tree, and this tree will be projected in national monuments such as the Eiffel Tower, and this was used for the UN climate conference, just to trigger forest climate action. So yeah, these are two examples, more bringing it closer to home, of what we would love to have it in the Eiffel Tower or another monument, but for now we can suffice with the dome, as Gerrit Jan posed before.
It's hard.
And yeah,
It's hard to bring that Eiffel Tower everywhere that we are organizing an event. So it has to be something else.
Exactly. So what we would like to put forth as a trigger or as a call to action is two use cases to be enhanced with such immersive stories that mix these environmental data sets, but that just bring it alive to the intended audiences, whether it is a single client, such as the ones we have at Space4Good, or a wider audience, such as a conference. So the first use case, and I'll just present the very boring uh, PowerPoint deck that we currently use to just show the current situation of 576 deforestation detections via these alerts and via these algorithms, and 112 fire detections. This is in the project in Indonesia. We have a table, we have some pictures, we have the slide, but it's we think it's not enough, or it could be expanded so much more. So this is one of the use cases, and actually this is just an example, because in Space4Good we could have uh, 10 other use cases that can be used. I just use this as a starting point.
Elke,
And Yeah.
may I ask, Elke, am I right or am I exaggerating if like 90% of all the applications that data scientists and data experts are making for NGOs and for other organizations with a lot of environmental data behind it actually look like this: a map and a
Yeah,
table?
this is yeah, a map is already on the fancier end.
Yeah,
But yeah, so you we base ourselves very much on geo. So the map is the conventional delivery format, just to visualize everything. But it's not much more. Maybe in some cases you can add a video, but we just, even just by adding this in a 3D format, and we even have data sets that could enable the 3D shapes of the trees. For example, in point clouds, this already can tell such another story by seeing it just in the 3D shape. But we don't have the capacity at the moment to do this. It's it's always pushed as a nice to have, but not a requirement.
yeah.
So this is one of the cases. The second case, from this foundation, foundation NGO, in Spanish is Fundación Manoche, Samara Beach. There has been, of course, there has been native inhabitants since way before, but there has been actually a quite active expat community since around the 1970s, arriving in these planes, in these small airplanes, just because it was not accessible. And since then, and even time back, there has been such an evolution of the land, just within this beach. There ha- in these years, there have been not only wider construction across the whole beach, but you can even start to note some environmental disasters with erosion that's coming down from the mountains due to teak plantations, which are very they make the soil very acidic, and thus nothing grows and everything is eroded. So the mangrove is now in a quite perilous state. um, and the Fundación Malanoche just could make use of such compelling storytelling strategies with environmental data. This can mix historical data or current data. There has been also some further studies on this of the mangrove and the wetlands with the WPI University in the United States. And and what are the solutions that are needed for this community. It can not only bring this consciousness and awareness to the community itself, but also to politicians' agendas, and maybe even funding schemes to help contribute to these vulnerable landscapes. And mangrove, I'm just mentioning one. There's the marine life, the coral reefs that are affected as a direct consequence because of the sediment arriving to the ocean as well, and also, of course, the removal of primary forests for these teak plantations. So the story can unfold in many ways.
Elke, and so your assumption is that the people also in this community have a hard time to understand how it actually evolved. And
Yeah.
when they share that, they send each other a newsletter or or a PDF.
Yeah, indeed. Well, we a PDF, we would want a video or a DOM installation in its ideal cases. But yeah, the community, even, like, you can just be a passerby in the beach, and maybe you can perceive that something is happening with the estuary and mangrove, but maybe you don't understand how the whole system is tied up and how it started since its origin. And if we use such data visualization tools, art creation tools, etc., we can portray and convey this message in much better formats than what we have now, and that what the Fundación Malanoche has within its access now. So this is the other use case we wanted to share with you. This is the last slide. I don't know if Gerrit Jan. Well,
Yeah,
here are our contacts, because this is the final call to
yeah,
action.
sure. Yeah, so
Yeah,
basically,
so
yeah,
go ahead.
so basically, the upcoming months, we want to work towards a first prototype of this. No, first installation. Not necessarily with a very complex application, but just to get the tech right and to figure out how we can introduce smell, how we can introduce perhaps vibration, how we can introduce, of course, colors and sound. So how do we get the technology right? And what kind of platforms can we use? What kind of technology can we use to actually create stories, of course? And we think that we have a couple of opportunities to test that such a prototype in October, November, December, and then start building on more quality, on more stories, and larger audiences to share that. Could be a beach, it could be a town hall, it could be a festival. We're not 100% sure yet, and that's why I also shared that Astroplant example with you. When we started that experiment a couple of years ago, that journey a couple of years ago, we weren't sure where we would end up with. We never actually thought that there would be a team of girls experimenting with their own urine and getting awards for that. That's not what we thought at the beginning. So we're not 100% sure. But what we are sure of that we lack a couple of the skills. Like like Elke already shared, Space4Good is super good at crunching remote sensing data, satellite data, machine learning, etc. But we would like to reach out to a community that is very good in the multimedia applications and in all kinds of more artistic and media-oriented applications. And yeah, that's why we're here today. GJ@worldstartup.co and Elke?
Elke at space4good.com. Yeah,
.com.
those are.
Don't
Thank you
hesitate to
very
share a
much.
message. Thank you all and enjoy the rest of the day.